Welcome, everybody. Nice to see some familiar faces, some new faces. This is our final Zooming Out in a long series. We've been around the globe. Today, we're with Felipe Durini. He's an LLM student, LLM graduate. I keep wanting to say student from the class of 2018. I was introduced to him by Patrick Cassidy, who is the director of the LLM program. Patrick, nice to have you here today. And Patrick's been leading that program for a number of years. We have a wonderful LLM program here at the law school. We have both an online LLM program and an on-the-ground program, and we have students join us from around the globe. Felipe is from Quito, Ecuador, and I'm going to learn a little bit about Ecuador today, which is fantastic. In the last week or two, I've learned that they're on the exact same time zone as us, which I kept thinking they weren't. So I learned that today and other days. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Felipe and a little bit of information about his biography. And then we will dive into a slideshow and we'll learn a little bit about his town. And then we will ask some questions of Felipe. Felipe is a lawyer with more than 20 years of professional practice experience. His operations center is in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. It's a beautiful city in the middle of the world where spring is present all year round. It has an exceptionally well-preserved colonial historic center, and the citizenship is renewed by people from all regions of the country with great diversity. It's an unmissable destination to visit in South America, and I'm looking forward to the slides. He's an international practitioner attorney with 20 years of experience focused on corporate, M&A, commercial contracts, investment law, ADR, specializing in arbitration, tax law, and or labor matters. He actively represents local and international companies and investments for project financing, development plans, energy, natural resources, infrastructure, and new technologies. He was the founding partner of Durini, Guerrero, and Abogados in Ecuador in 2006. He currently represents Law World, the international legal network with a presence in 5 continents. He's a law professor of modern contracts at the Graduate School of Universidad Andina Simón Bolívar. I don't speak Spanish, so just a little a warning on that, but I hope I did that justice, Felipe. Welcome, Felipe. It's so nice to have you here today.
Thank you, Mielle. Hello to everybody. My pleasure to be now. See Patrick for a while again. It's great to see you, Pat. Very happy for this invitation. Back again in contact with Northeastern University, even though I am always in contact with some of my colleagues and friends from my master's degree and some other students that are that already graduate from the JD program because we match some classes together. So very happy for this opportunity. And I hope everybody's fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so pleased to have you here. So you see his bio at a glance, which we just discussed. And now we're going to take a peek at Quito and learn a little bit about some of your favorite spots and just give us a little bit of education.
Sure. Basically, Ecuador in Quito, it's in the middle of the world. We have wonderful weather all around the year. We have mountains, very nice mountains, the Andes. We have volcanoes. We have nice parks, some special experience because you can move from Ecuador because you can move from Quito, which is in the mountains. You can move to the rainforest maybe in 2 hours, and a little bit more, 2 hours more. You can move to the beach in the same day. So you can have a wonderful experience all around the country. We have 3 different regions, you know, the rainforest, the mountains, and the coasts. And also we have the Galapagos Islands, which are very famous and probably everybody knows about.
Yeah, that's on the bucket list, Felipe, for sure. Yeah. Where are you standing here?
Now on, I'm in my office, in my law firm, where I've been practicing law for the last 20 years around. But at the beginning, I started practicing as a paralegal in another law firm. Then I started my legal practice by my own. And
I meant in the slide. Where are you? Where are you standing? Is that part of the office? Is that
yes,
the office?
that's my building. That's
Okay.
where my law firm works. We're in the very close to the downtown, and you can saw the Pichincha Mountains around, and very close to the Carolina Park.
Wonderful.
I'm in the rooftop of my building. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. There's a little
That's
bit
the
of
Carolina Park, which is very close to my law firm building. And it's not right now, it's in the center of the city, basically. It's like a central park of New York.
Right.
Not that size, but it's big enough for being in Quito.
It's beautiful, and it's nice to have some greenery right there in the middle.
Sure, yeah.
How many people live in Quito?
Oh, now we are around 3 million people. 3 million people. It's living in Quito right now. Ecuador grows in relation with other countries in Latin America about the same size. The demographic evolution of Ecuador is huge. I think that's something that we have to start making some change in the country. So Quito, it's a little right now. It's the more population city of Ecuador. For maybe 3 years ago, it was Guayaquil.
Well, it's a beautiful park. Beautiful.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a wonderful palace where the government has the ministry office there. So it's a very nice building that definitely you should visit when you come to Ecuador. It's designed by the very famous Swiss Italian architect who works in Ecuador for a long time ago.
It's beautiful.
It's very nice. It's one of my favorites, definitely. And it's not very, very common that people visit. So that's the reason I sent you the pictures.
Love it.
It's a very nice place, definitely. That's the independent
Square.
monument. Yeah. And in front of it, it's the government palace where the president do his job in the front of the monument. It's in the middle of the downtown. That's something that you should visit. Definitely, when you visit Ecuador, you make a walk around it. It's a very nice building. You know that the downtown, Ecuador's Quito downtown, it's one of the most beautiful and huge downtowns in Latin America. And we have most of these places the same size, the same. It's been very, I don't know how to say. We take care that everything stays in the same way. It's really a nice place to visit.
So they're big into, I'm sorry. They're big into preservation is what you're saying.
Wonderful, yes, preservation.
I love the palm trees. I see a beautiful church kind of in the background there.
Yeah, that's the Basilica. I sent you a picture of the Basilica.
Okay, no, maybe we're headed there.
No, that's San Francisco. San Francisco. We have wonderful churches all around the downtown. We have this very nice place, which is the San Francisco Church. It's one of the most beautiful and huge.
Where is it?
It's in the downtown. It's very close to where's the Independent Monument.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely.
Ah.
That's the Basilica. That's not very close. It's takes like a walk a little bit to the north, but basically it's one of the most visiting spots for tourists.
And it's got 2 towers?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 towers.
And 2 clocks?
Yeah.
Huh. Beautiful.
It's very nice. There is I recognize this wonderful volcano. It's Cotopaxi in the left, and it takes like 2 or 3 hours from Quito. No, 2 hours. You can make a very nice trip to this. It's in another province, Latacunga, which is this. It's the city is Latacunga, and the province is the province is Cotopaxi. It's very nice.
Looks a
volcano.
little bit like my hometown, which is Portland, Oregon, which has a beautiful mountain behind the city, Mount Hood. It looks a little bit like that, although your mountain is quite large.
And what is very interesting about the Cotopaxi volcano is that it's active.
Oh,
it's active.
So it blows every once in a while?
We hope that will not happen ever, but something that makes it's a very nice trip to visit all around.
It's gorgeous.
That are some pictures from Quito around this. I cannot recognize right now because you can see the Cotopaxi volcano, but there are some, and the Pichincha, which is in front of me. But most of what I'm trying to show is that we have very nice mountains around the city. That's what I'm gonna. That's what I want to show about this.
Lovely. So that is our slideshow, and we got a little taste of Quito today, which was fun. I've had a blast traveling around the globe with the Zooming Out series and learning about different countries and just traveling vicariously because I'm not traveling so much right now. Next up, we're going to dive into a few questions and hear what Felipe has to say. So first off, tell me how did you pick Northeastern Law for your LLM? How'd you hear about us and what drew you?
Well, I have a very nice opportunity. Some years before, I visited Boston, and I just check a little bit of information about the law school, and that's the reason that my first contact with this connection. But basically, it was some years before I decided to complete my application. But definitely, the law school has a very high standard of training and study, completing a general framework to understand the American legal system along with the specialization programs. Therefore, that's the reason I chose the international business law concentration.
Wonderful.
So that's the reason why I choose Northeastern University School of Law, basically, yeah.
So had you visited Boston previously? Is that
previously
what you were saying? Yeah.
And in addition, that the university is in the heart of Boston, one of the great capitals for studying law, but not just law, is for discussing, debating, exchanging some knowledge with people from different schools around. So that makes a good place if you decide to do your LLM program in the United States. Boston has this special connection with your plans.
Well, we definitely have many universities, so that's probably something you were aware of.
True.
So you specifically studied international business, and was that what you were hoping to bring back to Ecuador? Did you become more familiar with legal systems around the world from your colleagues?
Well, definitely. I have a very close connection with different colleagues from the 5 continents, and it was a very interactive experience. People from India, China, Africa, from Brazil, from Mexico, from Peru, from Colombia. So that's something that it's part of your experience. So you have first of all, you will receive a very general education to understand the American legal system. But at the same time, you can make some good connections, focus on international practice, with colleagues from different places. That's something that makes it very special. And you learn about the questions, their experience, their interestings. But that's something that makes it very special, the LLM program at Northeastern.
That's terrific. Tell me about your co-op experience. And I believe it was at Justice Bridge Legal Center, but tell me a little bit about what that was like and what you learned.
It was great because the center has a practice that combines young lawyers with their mentors.
Oh.
Several high-level lawyers that have been judged and in-house lawyers for a while that they decide, in some cases, not in all cases, to retire. And you can learn the experience with these young lawyers that start their practice, and they have a very kind and human sense of legal service. Because when you move to the United States for a legal program, definitely you're gonna match connections around business, innovation, technology, but you also have a very nice experience with the real people living in the city. So they have, you can learn about, for example, labor issues,
Sure.
family, property, employment, collections. It was a real life experience. That's something that I like. I really like about the Justice Bridge Legal Center. Was
it at the end of your studies or in the middle?
In the middle,
Okay.
definitely. No, I did my first 2 quarters, then I complete my co-op, and then I go back to school for my last quarter. Definitely, yes.
Did you spend a winter with us?
Yeah.
Was that your first winter?
Was amazing. I never been in a winter with the snow at the same. It was amazing. But for me, the first 2 weeks or the first 3 weeks was a wonderful experience. It's like falling cotton all around the city. But then you get a little bit, you feel a little bit different.
Yeah, we had our first snow this week, Felipe. Just
really?
a little tiny bit, but I hear you. By February, March, it's not as fun. Tell me a little bit about what your law practice right now focuses on. What do you love doing? What are some of your favorite types of cases?
Well, various topics involve my legal practice. Most of my time I spend working on the law of contracts, corporations, some international business transactions, and all the time I use to complement my professional practice with my master's studies. Because you need to add all the experience that you bring back home from your master's. But at this, I was not a young student when I decided to do my master's at Northeastern. Most of the people were a little like 5 or 6 or 10 years younger than me. So I started my legal practice and I'm back to my legal practice. But most of my experience involved with a different view and different conception of the practice. That's my experience. But at the same time, I'm working in different areas right now with a little bit more of expertise, different industries. Ecuador has a switch of different open opportunities for investments, energy, gas, mining, infrastructure, technology, and innovation. So Ecuador is a good place for investments. That's what I'm sure that we have changed now.
So you brought your wisdom with you to the LLM program. What did your partners think in your law firm when you said you were going to the United States for a year?
Oh, my board of directors approved my decision to start my legal studies outside from the United States, when I explain about Northeastern University, when I explain the letters and the information that I received from Patrick, where I explain how this works, what I'm going to study, what I'm going to do, you know, I have all the support you need when you leave your office and you decide to spend 1 year for studying. Sometimes they think that you're going to spend not just a little bit of time for studying, but believe me, at least the first 6 months were very, very, a lot of reading and writing and investigation, you know, it was very, very active in an academic sense, basically, yeah.
In Ecuador, do you continue your university like an extra year or two to get your JD? How does it work for the undergraduate program there?
It's completely different because in Latin America and in most of also in Europe. I'm not sure about how it works in the Great Britain, but basically in the United States, law school is a graduate school. In Ecuador, most of Latin American countries, I think all of them, that we are much more close to the French and the Roman system, which is the civil law. We start law school as a undergrad. So
Right.
you complete your 5-year studies. You write a kind of final paper, like a thesis.
Yep.
It's almost a thesis, and you complete your requirements to work as an attorney. Before I moved to Northeastern in Boston, I did my postgraduate studies in Quito.
Okay.
Taxation, and the first one and the second one, banking, securities, and insurance law, basically.
Wow. You've had a lot of education.
It's just part-time, 1 year each one. So I spent 2 more years in the Andina University, where the school where I'm teaching now contracts.
Okay. That's very interesting. And I bet you have sharp students. What surprised you the most about Boston, and what did you enjoy the most?
Oh, I love Boston. It's my second home. It's a place to return soon. I expect to visit the United States maybe next year, but I love to walk all around the city. That's something that I start talking when I just moved to Boston with Patrick. And definitely Boston is very walkable around. You can do a lot of things just walking and visiting, like, you know, walking around Newbury Street, the Copley Place, the Quincy Market, just to have a quick list. Little Italy at the North End is one of my favorite places. Visiting the museums, the downtown. I have a very nice friend where that he's connected with one of the piers next to the Charles River, and I have the opportunity to do some sailing. To Cambridge, which is very close. So there's a lot of activities around, and as you already say, that there's a lot of school, not a lot, but we have some very, very strong universities, not just Boston University or Northeastern. You have another schools around, so there's a lot of activities that you can connect.
It sounds like you took full advantage of it, so that's good. Yeah, it sounds like you really had, you know, a good experience. I'm happy to hear that. What are some of the major cultural differences between Quito and Boston, would you say?
Well, Quito is now very international. So probably one of the differences that when you decide to study at Boston, most of the people just move to Boston and they leave Boston because you just move to study. Yeah. And I think that what's different in Ecuador, and specifically in my experience in Quito, is that you have a very close connection with your family. That's right. Something that works in a very small country like Ecuador, because I have my brother who lives in Guayaquil, but the rest of my family lives in basically in the same city. In the United States, in Massachusetts, people move all around the US. So that's something that makes a little bit different. I get in touch with my family and my friends probably every week.
Yep.
In the United States, probably that's not very possible.
Yeah, we're very transient. There's a lot of movement, which is good and bad. What do you wish you knew before coming to the US and working in the US that you didn't know?
Oh, a lot of things. Definitely. If I can go back to the US, make some back to Boston and visit in all around some places around Massachusetts that I would like to go back, like where the Pilgrims just when they moved to the United States. I don't remember that,
yeah,
that very famous boat. I'm sure you remember the name where they.
Mayflower. I think you're thinking of Plymouth Rock, but
I would like to visit Plymouth, but not during the winter. I would like to visit Plymouth during the summer. That's something that I really, that I would like to go back to Massachusetts and visit again. Yeah.
I was thinking more of your LLM program. What do you wish you knew before you got there about it? Or how could you have prepared differently? Is there anything you could have done differently?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, you want me to answer like a recommendation for
if someone else is considering the LLM program, what would you tell
the
them?
LLM program at Northeastern? It's a very nice option because it's something that it's completely true. You have a lot of contacts from people from the 5 continents. I already explained a little bit about it, but try to apply and do your master's a little bit early, not spend 10 or 12 or 14 years from graduate to start your LLM program. Try to move, maybe to start working 3 or 4 years and try to do it. That's something that if I can go back on time, in time with a different perspective, that's something that probably, that's not, that doesn't happen to me, but that's something that I will recommend. Something else, try to if you can spend, when you already finished, if you have the time. I don't have the time. I have to come back to my practice. But if you can spend a little bit, like 2 or 3 months when you finish and you graduate, it will be great, because you can if you decide to complete your bar examination, I can take it, but I need to go back and get ready for my bar examination. But if you can spend like 2 or 3 months working on that in the same place where you graduate, that will be amazing. And definitely, and that's something very interesting. I'm still in contact with my classmates from the LLM program, and they passed the bar exam.
That's
in
great.
Massachusetts and New York, and I'm very proud about it.
That's hard work. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of work.
Those are great tips. Tell me a little bit about what your long-term goals are for your career.
Well, I have some ideas about my future practice in the United States, not in the United States, in Latin America, and in connection probably with the United States. I want to work in international consulting, and probably something that I'm very, very interested in. And sometimes I talk with Patrick about it. It's about international investment law and arbitration investor state. Okay. That's something that I really, I'm very active right now in domestic arbitration, but I want to get in touch with some international real experience in arbitration. Basically, I want to get involved much more in arbitration. Right now, I have some practice in litigation. That's something that I really want to do, and I'm working in that direction. But I'm trying to improve my practice in the new industries that grow. you know, like innovation, technology, intellectual property. And right now in my legal practice, we have a huge team of wonderful people where we share different experience, and definitely we can find new clients that are working and doing a lot of different activities in Ecuador. That's most of my interest right now.
That's great. Those are good goals. Have you traveled throughout the world?
Oh yeah,
You have.
not too much, but in Latin America, that's it. Colombia, Peru. Basically, yes, I've been in Dominican Republic,
Nice.
and I have a wonderful opportunity to visit Europe.
Wonderful.
Germany, France, Czech Republic, and I expect to travel a little bit more, definitely.
Yeah, once COVID subsides a little bit.
Oh yeah.
What do you do in your free time? What do you like to do?
Oh, that's something that I love.
Is there any free time?
Well, yeah, Latinos always have some. We like to save some time for activities outside from legal practice or just working around. Basically, I love riding horses. I love horses. That's something that I love it. Right now, I'm not riding. I expect next year I can start again. But for now, I'm doing some cycling, a little bit trekking, because that's around the city. You have a very nice places that you can walk around. Sure. I love some reading and spend time with my family, with my girlfriend, and with some friends that we are always in contact. That's most of my free time spent.
Horseback riding sounds amazing. So it looks like you would have great places to ride there.
Oh yeah,
just like the trekking. Is there anything else you want to share with your audience before I open it up to see if anybody has questions? And I definitely want to bring Patrick on if he's able to.
Well, I would like to add in this opportunity something that I already say, but I would like to explain again. Northeastern is a place to study, but it's also a place where you can find a human sense to your studies, where you can find very nice people, amazing professors, a very friendly place where you can learn, where you can have a very close connection with your teachers, because the classes are not too many students per class. So teachers remember your name, teachers answer your questions. They have a very close connection with your interests, with your questions, with your reading. And that's something that doesn't work everywhere.
Right.
I'm sure that people understand when they are masters, but definitely you can find a very nice place to study. But if you are 100 students in the same class, it's a little bit difficult. But if you are in a small class, you can be very close with your teachers and very close with your classmates. And
did you have a favorite class?
Oh yeah, my favorite class was civil procedure with Professor Dovely. Constitutional law was great. Definitely international business transactions, contracts, corporations, professional responsibility, negotiations. I can make it up. We can discuss in another opportunity about each one of these classes, because it was a very high qualified program, and you get in touch with the JD students in some classes, not in all of them, but in some classes.
I think that's
very
great.
interesting.
Yeah.
Very useful.
Does anybody have a question? Would you like to unmute and ask it? Patrick, would you be able to unmute and say a word or two?
Felipe, so great to see you.
Great, Patrick.
So Felipe, this reminds me, when you were at Northeastern, I always felt that you were my teacher, because I always learn so much from you during our conversations. Um, it's great. So it's bringing that all back to me. Felipe, have you been able to maintain contact with some of your classmates?
Thank you, Patrick. Probably I when I visit your office, I'm asking so many questions that you feel that I'm trying to discuss so different topics about it. Yes, I'm still in contact with Karen. She's from Brazil. I'm sure
Right.
you remember.
Yeah.
I'm still in contact with Jenny. She's from the US. She's in I think she's living in Massachusetts. I'm in contact with she's from Brazil. She's working on she's Gabriele. I'm sure you remember Gabriele. She's doing immigration law. She started her law practice.
Yeah.
I'm still in contact with Mayra. She's from Peru.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really international.
Very international. It was great because Mayra, she decided to pass the bar exam, but she loved tax law and she did great in the tax class at Northeastern, but then she moved to New York, and I have a call with a very nice contact with her, and she did a master's program in taxation at NYU, I think, and she's working right now in the US. So there's a lot of connections that you're still in contact. And I'm still in contact with Apurva. I think probably you remember him.
Yeah.
He's from Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's great.
So we have a chat with most of the LLM programs, students from the program. Yeah.
Patrick, you did a great job recruiting.
We do our best.
Wonderful class.
Wonderful class. Wonderful class. Yeah.
Felipe,
Felipe, are there any professors that you would like me to, extend your best wishes to?
Well, I would like to say hello to Dovely, Professor Nan Dovely. She's civil procedure, and she was from the court.
Yes.
It was a wonderful experience to be her student. Right now, corporations, Professor Scott.
Okay.
She's one of the best teachers in the law school. I'm sure you remember from Amy Scott, I think she's.
Yes, that's right.
And Burdick, negotiations.
Okay.
You remember?
Yeah.
Bob Burdick.
Yeah.
Very nice class.
Okay.
Definitely, I would like to visit Boston as soon as possible and make a quick visit to my professors. I expect all of them they stay teaching there.
We hope you come back soon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'm like Mielle. I really want to come to Quito too.
Remember that we were talking about your visit to Quito, and I have very close connections with some graduate schools and undergraduate schools where they will be very interesting to learn about the LLM program.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
And we can make a very nice agenda for your time in Quito.
All right, Patrick, it's a road trip.
Great.
Does anybody else does anybody else have a final question or thought? Judge Arterton, it's so nice to see you. I'm glad you joined us.
Thank you. I am sorry for all my technological shortcomings, starting with not having the right data to plug me in. But in any event, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Felipe, it's been wonderful visiting with you today, having a wonderful conversation, learning a little bit about your city and the LLM program, your hard work while you were here, Patrick's hard work in forming this wonderful program that we have at the law school at Northeastern. I thank you for your time and for sharing your thoughts with us. And it's just so nice to spend time with you today.
Can I jump in for a second? I just wanted to say hello to everyone. Hello, Felipe. I do see some of your posts on social media, so I'm very Proud of everything you've accomplished since the LLM. And it's good to see faces that I remember, Mr. Cassidy, of course. And the LLM program was extremely beneficial to me. I'm now currently in the doctoral program, the
Wow.
DLP with Northeastern. And I anticipate moving into the LLB program in London and Northeastern's campus in about a year once I complete the doctoral program. So Northeastern is in my blood, I guess I'll say. And it's helped me significantly. I've returned now to Las Vegas, where most of my family lives, and I'm an immigration attorney for a nonprofit. So a lot of what I learned throughout my LLM has been beneficial to my career, and then personally as well in terms of my social and cultural interests. So
That's
thanks to everyone.
Great to hear. Thank you for jumping in.
Before we finished, I would like to say hello to Bonnie Smith. I remember she was a very active student from the LLM program, and she started 1 quarter before I started. And I remember that she did her co-op in India, I think Asia or Africa. She can confirm about it, but I remember. And great to hear you, Bonnie. Probably we can get in touch soon. And I think that we must have to start, and I will ask Patrick, the LLM Alumni Association from Northeastern. That would be amazing opportunity to get in touch again. For example, I'm in contact with Carlos. Probably you remember Carlos. Carlos was the Ecuadorian that did the master's before I decided to do my master, and I'm in contact with this with Luciano. He's from Guayaquil. I love to get in contact with everybody.
I can tell, Felipe, you are the perfect person to talk to today. And Patrick, now you can take up the mantle and do some additional Zooms with all of your cohorts.
Thank you.
Felipe, thank you. Thank you so much for making time for us. I wish you all the best in your practice and with your family and at the holidays. And I just really appreciative of your time and the conversation today.
Big hug.
Big
For
hug
everybody.
back to you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everybody,
You
for
too.
being a part of today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.